Good afternoon, everybody. As the introduction said, my name is Mark Rushworth. I'm the co-founder of SageTech Medical Equipment, and we're creating the circular economy of anesthesia to provide cost and emission savings to healthcare. So this afternoon, I'm going to take you through a summary of the company to date, the problem with inhaled anesthesia, and some developments over the last 12 months that are very interesting from an awareness and understanding perspective. SageTech's solution, the market opportunity, some traction we've got through to the financials and the fundraise we're doing at the moment. So at the beginning of 2015, we founded SageTech. I founded it with Dr. Sebastian Brown, who's the anaesthetist, and Dr. Brown had invented a cutting-edge platform technology to capture, purify, and reuse inhaled anesthetic agents. It's a technology that disrupts two main markets of a combined $10 billion, anesthetic agents and anesthetic machines, and it provides healthcare providers with significant cost and environmental emission savings. In the 5 years since inception, we've developed the commercial scale equipment needed for the process. We've set up a multi-hospital pilot in the UK and France to prove the workflow and quantify the cost and environmental emission savings. And we've designed the initial production facility for regulated licensed production of purified anesthetic agent. So the problem with inhaled anesthesia, and by the way, when I'm talking about inhaled anesthesia, I'm talking about the likes of sevoflurane, isoflurane, and desflurane, is that those agents are minimally metabolized. So less than 5% is taken in by the body, and the remainder is exhaled unchanged. So in clinical practice today, what practically happens is that exhaled agent is removed from the theatre using an anaesthetic scavenging system and is vented to atmosphere. So as you can imagine, it's extremely wasteful, but it's also extremely environmentally pollutive. So 1 kilogram of desflurane is the equivalent of around 3,000 kilograms of carbon dioxide. And the environmental impact has led to hospitals in the UK, US and France banning or deselecting desflurane, which is the most potent agent environmentally, in spite of its clinical benefits. It has clinical benefits through to its fast onset and offset profile. Over the past 12 months, there has been a huge change in the understanding and awareness of the environmental issue with volatile agents. It's increasingly present as a discussion point, a subject in conferences and in the literature, and it's particularly prevalent in the UK and Europe, but also globally. The US is seeing the impact, probably about 2 years behind in the US, but they're seeing the information getting out there. And desflurane in particular is being vilified on account of its high global warming potential that I mentioned. But inhaled anesthetic agents have a well-established safety and efficacy profile. All have been in use for over 25 years. They make up 70% of the anesthetic marketplace. And so we at SageTech don't believe that the solution is to stop using inhaled anesthetic agents for other inefficient modes of anesthesia. And that is why we've developed a solution that directly tackles the environmental problem of inhaled agents without changing clinical practice. So what we do is we capture the exhaled waste anesthetic agent at the back end of the anesthetic circuit in a capture canister. And when it's full, the anesthetic nurse takes that full capture canister to a centrally located extraction machine on the hospital premises and places it in the input area. It automatically delivers back an empty canister for reintegration in the circuit, and using automation and robotics, that machine extracts the waste agent into a bulk vessel. The bulk vessel is then transported to a central purification facility for purification and rebottling for placing back onto the market under license. And therein lies the circular economy of anesthesia that you see up there, with fresh agent coming in at the top, being captured, extracted, purified, bottled, and distributed back to the beginning. In terms of the value proposition is multifold. So you've got a reduced financial cost. Because you're capturing the anesthetic agent, you've negated the need for the scavenging system, which has an ongoing operational expenditure cost. It's running at 300 litres per minute of air, 24/7. So you've got the OPEX cost of that. You've got the CAPEX cost of any new build that would otherwise integrate scavenging. By getting rid of the environmental issue with desflurane, you enable its greater use and therefore the clinical efficiency of having a faster onset and offset. And you're also able to cut the link between the scavenging system, which is the only piece of fixed infrastructure in the operating theatre. And what that does is it means that any suitable room in the hospital complex can be used as an operating theatre. So we have one NHS trust, for example, that says, okay, what we want to do is we want to dial up the number of operating theatres in the summer to clear through waiting lists, and then dial them down again in the winter to use as ward space. And then finally, I mentioned the environmental impact. It's the environmental impact being saved of emitting the agents, but also the environmental impact that's being lost when you get rid of the scavenging system. Now, when we created this circular economy, one of the things we realised was that the logistics is a core part of the model. Now, you could operate this on a canister basis, but you'd be transporting millions of canisters from individual hospitals to an extraction and purification facility. And what we decided to do was to apply the core principles of the recycling industry, namely distribution of workload and aggregation as early as possible. So we distribute the extraction to the hospital workforce, bulking up the anaesthetic agent, aggregating it early in the process so that we can transport that bulk agent to the purification facility, which means that instead of transporting many units of canisters, you're transporting a much smaller number of bulk vessels. So that drives efficiency in terms of reduced transport weight, reduced fleet size and emissions, but it also opens up the possibility of a single global purification facility meshing in with existing anaesthetic manufacture channels. The markets we're disrupting are the anaesthetic machine, agent and scavenging markets, combined circa $10 billion. And what's interesting about the way we're doing it is that because we integrate all three areas, we occupy a unique position of distinct leverage amongst the markets. And there's a target accessible market of around $7.5 billion, which is built up of sales of recycled anaesthetic agents, but also sales of the capture and extraction equipment to the hospitals in question. We're getting a good deal of traction. We're capturing anaesthetic agent in the Royal Devon and Exeter Hospital and also the Royal Cornwall. And in the next 3 months, we roll out to Newcastle, Southampton, Taunton and Bristol, as well as CHU Grenoble in the southeast of France. In the middle, you see there that the SFAR Environmental Committee, the head of the SFAR Environmental Committee, Jane Murray, highlighted SageTech as the solution to inhaled anaesthetic emissions. And most recently, we won the Association of Anaesthetists Award for Innovation 2020. I focused a lot on the technology as applied to the anaesthetic sector, but it is actually a platform technology, as people want to say, and has applications across a number of medical and also industrial sectors, including the use of xenon in anesthesia and others, and future medical uses, recycling of halocarbons in therapeutic industries. The cash flow projection that you see there in front of you shows the forecast without investment. Commercial sales of the capture and extraction equipment are forecast for Q1 2021. And in terms of the overall financials, the 5-year forecast shows margins evolving to a blended margin of 57%. Expected profitability hits in 2021. So we're targeting a $2 million fundraise through 2020 to complete the pilot, proving the workflow and validating the cost and emissions savings to hospitals and healthcare providers, to complete the purification process to a regulatory standard so that we can produce pure anaesthetic agent, and to apply for the regulatory approval of our recycled anaesthetic agents. So if you're interested in hearing more, then please come and see me. Ask any questions you have right now, but otherwise come and see me. I'll be milling around this area and also the central area for today and tomorrow. Thank you.